Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom surrounded by deep green forests and snow-capped mountains, there lived a princess whose beauty was unlike any other. Her skin was as pure and white as freshly fallen snow. Her lips were as red as the brightest rose, and her hair shone black as polished ebony. But beauty was not her only gift. Her heart was gentle, her voice was sweet, and her kindness touched every creature in the land. Wherever she went, birds sang more cheerfully, flowers seemed to bloom brighter, and the people adored her. She was the light of the kingdom. Yet, as with all tales, not everyone was pleased with such radiance. In the royal palace, a queen lived who was Snow White's stepmother. Though her face was striking, her heart was hardened by envy. She could not bear the thought of anyone surpassing her beauty. Every day she stood before her enchanted mirror, her voice dripping with pride as she asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror, bound by magic, always replied, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." This answer pleased her, until one fateful day. The queen repeated her question, and the mirror answered differently. "You, my queen, are fair, but Snow White is the fairest of them all." The queen's eyes darkened with rage. Jealousy turned her heart into stone. Snow White's beauty had become a threat. With each breath her hatred grew stronger, until she vowed, "If Snow White is fairer than I, then she shall not live to see another day." The queen summoned a huntsman, a man strong and loyal to the crown, and commanded him, "Take the girl into the forest. End her life and bring me proof. Do this, or it shall be your own life instead." Though the huntsman trembled at the queen's command, his heart was kind. He led Snow White deep into the shadowy woods where twisted branches reached like claws and the air grew colder with each step. Snow White, innocent and unaware, looked at him with trust in her eyes. The huntsman raised his knife, but when he saw her gentle face he could not harm her. Tears welled in his eyes as he whispered urgently, "Run, my princess. Run far and never return to the castle. The queen's heart is full of poison. She wishes you dead." Snow White gasped, her heart pounding. Without a word, she fled into the forest. She stumbled through the dark trees, the cries of owls echoing above, strange eyes watching her from the shadows. Branches tore at her dress, roots pulled at her feet, yet she ran on until exhaustion overcame her. At last, when dawn broke, Snow White stumbled upon a small, quaint cottage tucked beneath the tall pines. The door creaked open, and inside she found a cozy home, filled with tiny chairs, 7 little beds, and a long wooden table set with 7 places. Too weary to wonder more, she sank into sleep. When the sun had climbed high, the owners of the cottage returned. They were 7 dwarfs, miners by trade, with cheerful hearts and eyes that sparkled like the gems they unearthed. To their surprise, they found the beautiful princess asleep across their beds. When she awoke, startled, she pleaded, "Please, kind sirs, forgive me. I mean no harm. I have nowhere to go. My stepmother wishes me dead. May I stay with you?" The dwarfs looked at one another, their hearts moved by her sorrow. Then, with smiles, they answered, "Stay with us, Snow White. Keep our home, and we shall keep you safe." And so Snow White made her life among them. She swept the little house, cooked warm meals, and filled the rooms with laughter and song. The dwarfs loved her dearly, and she loved them as her family. But far away, in the dark halls of the palace, the queen discovered the truth, that Snow White yet lived. Her rage burned hotter than ever. Disguising herself as a bent old woman with a crooked cane and a basket of fruit, the queen set out to finish her wicked plan. She knocked upon the dwarf's cottage door, her voice quivering with false sweetness. "Apples, dearie, sweet, juicy apples. Won't you try one?" Snow White, seeing only a harmless old woman, welcomed her in. The queen held up a single shining apple, its skin as red as blood and gleaming with unnatural perfection. "This one, my dear, is special. One bite, and all your dreams will come true." Snow White, trusting and gentle, reached for the fruit. She bit into it, just once, and at that moment the poison spread through her body. She fell to the floor, silent, her eyes closing as though in endless sleep. When the dwarfs returned, they found her lifeless. Their grief was deep beyond words. Not wishing to bury her, for she was still as fair as ever, they placed her gently in a glass coffin upon the hillside, where the sun and stars could watch over her. And so, time passed, and the forest grew quiet with sorrow. One day, a prince traveling through the forest came upon the glass coffin. He saw the maiden within, her beauty undimmed, her face serene as if in slumber. His heart stirred, for he had heard tales of her kindness and grace. Overcome with sorrow and love, he leaned down and gently kissed her lips. At once, the spell was broken. Snow White's chest rose with breath, her eyes fluttered open and life returned to her. The dwarves wept with joy, their cheers echoing through the forest. Snow White smiled at them with tears of gratitude, then turned to the prince. He held out his hand and asked, "Come with me to my castle. There, no harm shall ever touch you again." With hope and happiness shining in her heart, Snow White agreed. She bid her friends farewell, promising never to forget their kindness. And so, Snow White left behind the shadows of jealousy and the cruelty of her stepmother. With the prince by her side, she found not only safety but a future bright with love and peace. The dwarfs returned to their mines, yet always spoke of their dear friend with warmth and fondness. The kingdom rejoiced when news spread that Snow White lived, her light restored. Thus, with courage, kindness, and the magic of true love, Snow White lived happily ever after.